Well, Illinois is expanding non-citizen intake and shelters and food spending. It's the latest headline that we got yesterday from Governor J.B. Pritzker's office outlining all of the extra spending they're doing. It's based off $160 million that Governor J.B. Pritzker is spending from Illinois coffers, Illinois tax dollars, to help with the ongoing non-citizen migrant issue. So yesterday, we're waiting for news to drop, and of course, we get this statement from the governor's office essentially spelling out all of the extra spending, and at thecentersquare.com you can find this. Just search the Illinois page, and the state of Illinois opening a new intake center and shelter site to process the continued influx. An additional $2 million in food service contracts for shelters in Chicago are also being extended. Now, the plan comes as more than 60 buses came from Texas from December 20th to the 27th, nearly 2,500 new arrivals, and even buses dropping people off in places like Aurora and Elgin. But you also had a flight that came in from Texas to Rockford on New Year's weekend, 350 new arrivals there. So the facilities that they're setting up here include an intake center that's going to have 6 heated tents, a 220-person shelter located in Little Village at a former CVS in Chicago, and a temporary shelter at a Chicago hotel. Now, the governor said in a statement yesterday from his office, the state's determined to use its limited resources as efficiently as possible, helping asylum seekers seek shelter and settle in Illinois and achieve independence. We will continue to ensure that they meet and are met with dignity and compassion while we call for increased coordination and funding from the federal government to provide federal solution to the federal challenge. So, we heard similar things from Mayor Brandon Johnson, who, recently told CNN that they need more federal help, and in particular, that they need more federal resources. Here's Johnson from CNN. What was this past weekend, just before New Year's Day?
And I've asked for $15 billion for the entire country. I know I have a congressional delegation here in Illinois that has asked for $10 billion. Look, the technical support that we receive from the federal government, we appreciate that. Work authorization to put people on a pathway to sustainability, I certainly appreciate that. And without real significant investment from our federal government, it won't just be the city of Chicago that won't be able to maintain this mission. It's the entire country that is now at stake.
So again, the entire country's at stake, Johnson says. Well, when we chatted with former state senator Darren Bailey, who's running for Congress, he had this to say about the situation and the sentiments from the Democrats. He says is the type of leadership that leads to this type of problem.
That the Chicago, the very people that wanted sanctuary cities, wanted a sanctuary state, are now fearing, Brandon Johnson recently fearing for the future of our country because of this. And just recently, this weekend in Berwyn, Illinois, here's something else to consider. There was a 2-hour procession of semi-trucks flying Palestinian flags. And many of these trucks, there's video and there's pictures of them. Berwyn police, no one up there stopped them. They 2 hours. Some people had to wait before they could get out on the highway with this procession going through. Where did these people come from? Are these people coming from, have they been coming across our borders for the last several years? So I do believe that the situation with our border is of utmost importance. It is priority number one.
So again, Bailey talking about how important this issue is, and we'll obviously have to reach out to Mike Bost, who's the incumbent congressman that Darren Bailey's challenging in the Republican primary in March. But interesting to again just compare and contrast, right? Where you've got some in sanctuary cities saying that they need more federal funds. Brandon Johnson asking for $15 billion for the entire nation. But you've got this issue building up, and Brandon Johnson saying that this could be detrimental to the country. But others like, conservative Republican Darren Bailey saying that the problem has been around for the past 3 years under President Biden's open border policy. And the reason it's compounding on sanctuary cities is because those areas, Democrat-controlled areas, are allowing for policies to be in place that don't allow for local law enforcement to enforce federal immigration law. So clearly there's going to be a ton more to this, but the cost as well. It's not just the humanitarian issues, it's the overall cost. And for Illinois to date, state funds, the state spent around $478 million on shelter, food, medical care, rental assistance, wraparound and casework services. So a lot of funds being expended in all of this. And we'll obviously be touching on where this goes from here. And I know that in Congress, they're looking at starting impeachment inquiries into not just President Joe Biden for separate things, but also the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. So that clearly is something else that's going to be monitored as we progress throughout this saga. All right, so like, subscribe, follow along each and every weekday morning here with Bishop on Air. Appreciate you guys taking the time with me and hanging out.